Yes, so we were discussing the height to which the liquid rises in a capillary tube. Okay, so we were deriving the formula of it. When a capillary is dipped in a liquid and the angle of contact is acute, that is less than 90 degree, the liquid rises in the capillary. Okay, so the height to which the liquid rises, okay, which is given by 2s upon r rho g. Okay, where r is the radius of curvature, we'll come to it just now. Okay, let's once again revise it. We consider 2 points where the liquid surface is plane. So the pressure at point A will be equal to pressure at point B. Pressure at point A is equal to the pressure at point B, which is the atmospheric pressure at A point. Which pressure is acting? Atmospheric pressure. So the pressure at point A is equal to pressure at point B. Now we consider 2 more points, C and D. D is towards the convex side. Okay, so the pressure will be less. Towards the concave side, the pressure is more. Okay, so the pressure is less at point D, and as there is only one free surface, so the pressure will be less by 2s by r. So the pressure at point D is pressure at the point C minus 2s upon r. Okay, why? Because towards the concave side the pressure is more and towards the convex side the pressure is less. So the pressure at point D will be the pressure at point C minus 2s by r. Okay, and at point C, at point A, both are exposed to the atmosphere. The pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure. So at point C and A, the pressure is same. So at point C, you can write it to be pressure at point A. Okay, both are the atmospheric pressure. Okay, now we consider another point B, which is at the same level to B. At that point, the pressure will be equal to Pa minus 2s by r, that is the pressure at point B, plus this liquid column pressure, which is H rho g. So pressure at the point P is the pressure at point D plus the liquid column pressure, which is H rho by g. Okay, now B and E are at the same level, so the pressure should be the same. Okay, and pressure at point B is the pressure at point A. Pressure at point E is this Pa minus 2A. So what do we get? H rho G is equal to 2s upon R. So H is equal to 2s upon R rho G. Okay, now we come. What is this R? We come to the discussion of R. Let's draw the figure again. Let this is the capillary. R is the radius of curvature. That is this spherical part. If you complete the sphere, the radius of it will be equal to R. This is capital R, the radius of curvature. But in the question, the radius of curvature will not be given. Instead, what will be given? The radius of the capillary tube. Radius of this tube. Okay, this is the diameter of the tube. So half is the radius. So this is the radius of the tube. So you have to convert this capital R in terms of small r. Okay, R, capital R is the radius of curvature, small r is the radius of the capillary tube, which will be given in the question. So capital R has to be converted in terms of small r. Okay, now angle of here. Yeah.
Ma'am, why P square?
Yes, Shreyansh. Any doubt? Audio.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, now here we know that the tangent to the solid surface and the tangent to the solid liquid surface, this angle enclosed, we call it as angle of contact. Now geometrically it can be proved that if this angle is theta, this angle is also equal to theta. Okay, geometrically you can prove that if this angle is, no need to prove it over here, directly you can write down if this is the angle of contact, the tangent to the liquid surface, the tangent to the solid surface. And angle enclosed between them, we call it as the angle of contact, which we have already discussed. Now geometrically you can prove it that if this angle is theta, this is also theta. Okay, now using the trigonometric ratio, you can find out the relation between small r and capital R. Find out cos theta from this right angle triangle. Cos theta is equal to base upon hypotenuse. Base is the radius of the capillary tube and hypotenuse is the radius of curvature. So capital R is equal to R upon cos theta, where small r is the radius of the capillary tube. Substituting it over here, you will get the expression for the height. H is equal to 2s R upon cos theta into rho u. So this is the expression for the height to which the liquid rises in the capillary tube. 2s cos theta upon R rho g. Okay, so this is the expression for the height to which the liquid rises in the capillary tube. Okay. Now here, theta is what? Angle of contact, and we know that angle of contact may be acute or obtuse. If the angle of contact is acute, that is if theta is less than 90 degree, then the height, the expression of height, you will get it to be positive. Okay, then H is positive and the formula is called as the Ascent formula. That is, the liquid is, this formula will call it as the Ascent formula. Why? Because the liquid is ascending in the tube, the liquid is rising in the tube. So this formula we call it as the Ascent formula. Now if theta is obtuse, cos, that is obtuse means greater than 90 degree, and cos greater than 90 degree is negative. Okay, so if theta is, I'll rub the figure. Right on here. If theta is greater than 90 degree, then the expression of height will be negative. Why? Cos greater than 90 degree is minus negative. So H will be negative, and this formula we call it as descent formula. That is, the liquid is descending in the tube. The liquid will fall in the tube. Okay, so this formula we call it as the descent formula. Okay, so the liquid, the formula is the same. This will be positive when theta is acute. This will be negative when theta is obtuse. So accordingly we call it as ascent formula or descent formula, depending whether the liquid ascends or descends. Okay, so this is all about capillarity, which we have completed. Okay, so R, capital R is the radius of curvature. That is, if you complete this sphere, okay, this is a part of a sphere. The meniscus is a part of a sphere. If you complete the sphere, the radius of the sphere, that sphere is capital R. Okay, which has to be converted in terms of radius of the tube. Okay, radius of the capillary tube. This is theta, so this is also theta. Using the trigonometric ratio, you can find out the relation between small r and capital R. We have completed. So we have derived the expression of the height to which the liquid rises or falls in the capillary tube when it is immersed in liquid. Okay, so whenever a capillary tube is immersed in a liquid, either the liquid rises or liquid falls. Okay, depending upon the angle of contact acute, it will rise. Angle of contact obtuse, it will fall in the tube. Okay, written. Okay, next we will discuss the variation of surface tension. What are the factors which affect the surface tension? So write down factors affecting surface tension. Factors affecting surface tension. Okay, the first factor is whatever is mixed in the liquid. Okay, that is the solute which is dissolved in the solvent, that is affecting the surface tension. The highly soluble substances, they increase the surface tension of the liquid, and sparingly soluble, less soluble substances, they decrease the surface tension of the liquid. Like salt is highly soluble in water, so salt will increase the surface. Salt when dissolved in water, it will increase the surface tension of the water, whereas detergent, it is sparingly soluble in water. It will reduce the surface tension of water. So highly soluble increases the surface tension of the liquid. Sparingly soluble, that is less soluble, decreases the surface tension. So write down factors affecting surface tension. Factors affecting surface tension. Write the first one. Highly soluble substances. Highly soluble substances increases surface tension. Highly soluble substances increases surface tension, whereas sparingly soluble substances, or we may write down whereas less soluble substances decreases surface tension of the liquid. Decreases surface tension of the liquid. Write its example. Salt dissolved in water. Salt dissolved in water increases its surface tension. Why? Because it's highly soluble. Salt dissolved in water increases its surface tension, whereas detergent decreases the surface tension of water. Detergent decreases the surface tension of water. Right, the second factor is the temperature. Okay, with the temperature also the surface tension of the liquid changes. Okay, and how it changes? With the rise in temperature, the surface tension of the liquid decreases. Okay, like the hot water has less surface tension as compared to cold water. So write down second factor. With the rise in temperature, the surface tension of liquid decreases. With the rise in temperature, the surface tension of liquid decreases. Okay, so these are the two factors which affect the surface tension of a liquid. Okay, the first one is whatever you are dissolving in the liquid. Okay, if it is highly soluble, it will increase. If it is less soluble, it will decrease. And the second factor is the temperature. With the rise in temperature, the surface tension of the liquid decreases. Okay, one last topic of surface tension. Okay, after that we will start viscosity. Chapter is the same only. So, the last topic of surface tension is detergent action. Detergent action. Okay, how detergent water can clean up stainy cloth, clean up greased cloth. Okay, any greased cloth, any dirty cloth, if you rinse it only with the water, it doesn't get clean. Whereas when detergent is dissolved in water, it gets easily clean. Okay, the dirt is removed, the grease is removed, the stain can be removed. So let's study about the detergent action. Okay. Now the detergent molecules are hairpin shape. Okay, what the girls use put on their hair, that is the hairpin. So the detergent molecules are hairpin shape. Somewhat shaped like this. Okay, and when the detergent is dissolved in water, what happens? All these heads are attracted towards the water. All these heads, they will be attracted on the surface of the water. They all will be floating on the surface of the water, and the heads will be attracted towards the surface of the water. And when a dirty cloth is dipped in it, what happens? The plain water cannot come in contact with the grease or the stain or the dirt. Okay, plain water cannot come in contact. Why? Because the angle of contact is much more. So that is why the plain water molecules cannot come in contact. But now when the dirty cloth is dipped in the detergent dissolved in water, all these heads are floating on the surface of the water. As you dip it, all these fins, the tails of it, they will get stick to the dirt. These will get stick to the dirt, and now the water molecule, that is the detergent dissolved water molecule, can come in contact with the dirt, can come in contact with the grease or the stain of the dirt. Okay, and now the dirt can be removed by rinsing it with water. Okay, why? Because it is decreasing the surface tension of the detergent water. As the detergent, when dissolved in water, it is decreasing the surface tension, and now the dirt can be removed. The detergent, the water molecules can come in contact with the dirt or with the stain, and it can be removed. Then by rinsing it with water, the dirt can be removed from the cloth. So this way the detergent acts. So hurry up, write down point wise, write down first point. Write down the detergent molecules. The detergent molecules are hairpin shaped. The detergent molecules are hairpin shaped. Write the second point. When dissolved in water, the heads are attracted on the water surface. The heads are attracted towards the water surface. Write down in the same point, write down this decreases the surface tension of the water. This, that is dissolving detergent. What decreases? This means dissolving the detergent in the water. This decreases the surface tension of water. Write the third point. When a greasy stained cloth is dipped in detergent water, the fins of the detergent molecule comes in contact with the dirt or stain or grease, anything it may be, can come in contact with the stain or grease and can be removed. Write the next point. Now by rinsing it with water, the dirty cloth can be cleaned. Okay, so this way the detergent water helps to clean the cloth. Okay, otherwise a dirty cloth, if you dip it in plain water, the water molecule cannot come in contact with the dirt. But with the detergent water, now the detergent molecule can come in contact with the dirt and the dirt can be removed because it's reducing the surface tension of the water. Okay, now the next topic of this chapter is viscosity. Okay, surface tension we have studied when it is the property of the liquid when the liquid is at rest. Okay, the free surface of the liquid tries to attain a minimum surface area. Okay, this property we call it as surface tension. Now viscosity, when the liquid is in motion. Okay, when the liquid is in motion and opposing force acts between the layers of the liquid. Okay, the liquid doesn't flow as a whole. Let the liquid is flowing on the floor on a solid surface. Okay, it is not flowing as a whole. it flows in the form of layers. The layer which is in contact with the solid surface is almost at rest. The next layer will have a little velocity. Next to that will have a little more velocity. So this way, the topmost layer will have a maximum velocity. So as you can see here, between the two layers of the liquid, there is a relative motion. Okay, both the layers are not going with the same velocity. There is a relative motion between the layers of the liquid, and we know that whenever there is a relative motion, an opposing force acts. When a solid moves on the other surface, the opposing force, we call it as the frictional force. So here also between the layers of the liquid, there is some frictional force acting, and this frictional force we call it as the viscous force. This force we call it as the viscous force, and this property of the liquid in motion we call it as viscosity. In some liquids, the viscous force will be more. In some liquids, the viscous force will be less. For example, between honey and water, which one is more viscous? Honey is more viscous. Why? Because the opposing force is more. Okay, so water can flow easily. Whereas in case of honey, when it flows on a solid surface, the opposing force is more. So we can say that honey is more viscous than water. Okay, so write down viscosity. Write down when the liquid flows on a solid surface. When the liquid flows on a solid surface, it flows in the form of layers. It flows in the form of layers. Write down due to the relative motion. Due to the relative motion between the layers. Due to the relative motion between the layers of the liquid, an opposing force acts, called as the viscous force, Write down this property of the liquid in motion. Okay, so this property exists when the liquid is in motion. This property of the liquid in motion due to which an opposing force called as viscous force. An opposing force called as viscous force acts between the layers of the liquid is called as viscosity. Okay. So first of all, this property exists when the liquid is in motion. Okay, and the opposing force between the layers of the liquid, this we call it as the viscous force, and this property of the liquid in motion, we call it as viscosity. Okay, right here, example. Honey is more viscous than water. Honey is more viscous than water. Okay, now write down. It is found that the viscous force. First point. Okay, which force is this? This is the viscous force. Viscous force means opposite to the flow of the motion of the liquid. Okay, why? Because there is some relative motion between the layers of the liquid is flowing in this direction. opposing force, which is also called as the backward dragging force. It is dragging it in the backward direction, which we call it as the viscous force. Okay, so it is found that the viscous force depends on the first point, area of the layers in contact, area of layers in contact. Second point is directly proportional to velocity gradient. Now what is gradient? Gradient means any quantity which is changing with the distance, we call it as gradient. Pressure gradient, pressure changing with the distance. Velocity gradient, velocity changing with the distance. Potential gradient, potential changing with the distance. So gradient what is used? Whenever any physical quantity changes with the distance. Now velocity gradient means velocity changing with the distance. So velocity gradient, that is velocity, the change in velocity with the distance. That is the change in velocity with distance. Okay, so dv here is the change in velocity with the distance dx. Let's see that. Let's assume this layer, which is at a distance x, has a velocity v. Okay, the layer which is at a distance x from the solid surface is having a velocity v, and just above it, this layer has a little more velocity, so its velocity is v plus dv. And its distance from the solid surface is x plus dx. So dv is the change in the velocity with the distance dx. So dv upon dx, we call it as the velocity gradient. So it is experimentally found that the opposing force, that the backward dragging force, that the viscous force is directly proportional to the area of the layers in contact, and is also directly proportional to the velocity gradient. Okay, now let us combine these two. Proportional to A into dv by dx. On equating it, whenever you remove the proportionality sign and equate it, a constant of proportionality comes. Here the constant of proportionality is represented by a Greek symbol which is called as eta. And this is the symbol of eta. This symbol in Greek, like you have alpha, beta, gamma, these are various symbols of Greek symbols, and this symbol as shown is called as eta. Eta into A into dv by dx. Okay, now here this eta is called as coefficient of viscosity. Okay, so they are, okay, just be represented by this Greek symbol, where eta is called as coefficient of viscosity. It is called as coefficient of viscosity. Okay, now let's find the expression of eta. So from this expression we see that eta is equal to force upon A into dv by dx. So it is equal to viscous force per unit area per unit velocity gradient. Okay, so coefficient of viscosity is equal to the viscous force when A and dv by dx both are unity. That is, it is equal to viscous force upon A into dv by dx. Okay, or this can also be defined as, it is the tangential stress upon the rate of shear strain. Okay, tangential stress, force per unit area, tangential stress, dx upon dv, that will be the rate of, this dv by dx is rate of shear strain. Okay, so this can also be defined as eta is equal to shear stress, rate of shear strain. Okay. Any formula, this formula is okay. Eta is equal to f upon a into dv by dx. Now by the time I take your attendance, find its SI unit, find the SI unit of coefficient of viscosity and its dimension. Okay, and then we'll end the class. So hurry up, find it. Then I'll directly write down the unit and the SI unit and the dimensions. Hurry up, find out. Is everyone found the expression? Unit, SI unit, force as a unit, Newton, area, meter square, dv, it is the velocity change in velocity as a unit velocity, meter per second upon dxs, meter, this cancels out. So its unit is Newton into second, meter raised to the power minus 2. Okay, so its unit is Newton second per meter square. And dimensional formula, Newton is the unit of force which has got a dimension n L T raised to the power minus 2. Second, time, meter raised to the power L raised to the power minus 2, that is n L raised to the power 1 minus 2 minus 1 T raised to the power minus 2 plus 1 is its dimensional formula. n L raised to the power minus 1 T raised to the power minus 1 is its dimensional formula.